Hey. All right. Well, hello all. Welcome to this Paco workshop presentation on navigating small business resources. My name's John Beebe. I'm a business liaison with the Office of Small Business through Prosper Portland.
And hi, my name is Juliana Elegant, and I'm also a small business liaison. And John and I work by districts
Mhm.
generally, and so I'm in districts 2 and 4.
I'm in 1 and 3.
Yep.
Yep. And we actually thought this would be a nice slide to have as a placeholder for the beginning and the end of our presentation. It's just a high level look at your business journey. Now, even though it's set up as sort of like a linear journey, as we know as small business owners, nothing is straightforward in small business. We start, we stop, we have to pick things up, we wear a lot of hats. The intent of this was really just for you to take a look at it when you have a chance, now or later, and just kind of revisit different aspects of your business journey. What does that look like? Have you gotten the opportunity to actually form a legal entity? Were you doing projections before or after? Have you looked at retail space? These are just things, opportunities and setbacks that may happen on the business journey. So we're going to come back to this slide. But what we'd like to do is take a little time to introduce you to the Office of Small Business. Um, and that's a little timeline. I'm actually going to hand it to Juliana, who is really familiar with this timeline.
Yeah, so the timeline, the Office of Small Business, we actually haven't formally launched yet. We're formally launching next month. And so right now we're very much in the pulling things together phase. So initially, the Office of Small Business, the idea of an Office of Small Business is fairly common in many cities around the country, but Portland has never had one. And so there was a lot of discussion around the need to have an office that's at the city that helps small business owners navigate the services of the city. So the general services you would think about, like water or permitting, but also the resources that are at Prosper Portland. So things like grants and loans and economic development support. So initially, when we received COVID funds, we were able to start a small business hub, and that small business hub is moving into the work at the Office of Small Business. So we were approved in fiscal year 20 through 24. Right now, we're in the process of bringing staff on and making sure we're all trained up. And so we've started already with the business contact form, so businesses can already contact us directly and start working with one of the small business liaisons, John, myself, or there's a third business liaison, Dan. And additionally, we're going to have community office hours where we're in the community meeting with businesses. We're already going out into the community and meeting businesses one-on-one based on businesses who contact us through that contact form. And starting next month with Small Business Month, we're going to be launching a website. And that website we'll talk a little bit more about later, but it's going to have resources and information about working with the city of Portland, about accessing the services and understanding the processes.
And sort of moving forward, our goal is to continue to create useful content for small business owners. The website is truly meant to be a resource that is for small business owners, that's palatable and accessible for business owners of all sizes. And really, we're going to try to continue to create more content as that goes along. Um, so let me get to the next slide. It's being testy on me. There we go. So, some of the goals around the Office of Small Business, to connect the small businesses through to city bureaus. The nice thing about being a part of Prosper Portland is we have great working relationships and we're learning more about all the different entities of the city that works. And we're learning on behalf of the small business owners things about permitting that we never even knew about and the permitting process that we never even knew about. And land use, that's an entirely separate office, but the two of them are closely related. Different aspects of the city and how they intersect for small business owners and helping translate in that into a holistic action step for small business owners to be able to engage with the city. And I was just saying, we're sort of the central point of contact, spreading this wide but shallow net for small business owners to city resources. Also really important, and especially right now, we truly want to celebrate small business community. We're doing that through some events in the different districts. Um, Show up for small business. I'm going to actually, if you want to promote that right now, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. So show up for small business or show up and support small businesses. This is a very low key series that we're starting, and the goal is really just to show up. And whether that's eating, if it's a restaurant, or buying, if it's a retail space, or supporting the small businesses that are around Portland. And we're going to be doing it one area at a time. And so this is just sort of a fun celebration. The first one is happening on April 29th, and it's from 5 until 8. It's on Ankeny Alley, which is in downtown, sort of where downtown and Old Town meet in Portland. And so we'll be meeting at Dan and Louie's Oyster Bar. That's one end of the alley, and then we'll be encouraging people to just go up and down the alley and partake in all the wonderful food and drinks and just the businesses that are there. So that is something that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be moving it every month. We're going to be in a different place in Portland.
Yeah, and it gives us great opportunities to have a like Juliana said, a starting point, and then just spreading out from there and organically getting folks to experience the neighborhood in some great ways. And intent to collaborate with business districts. We know that business districts and then like neighborhood businesses really know their area the best, and our intent is to work collaboratively with all of them as we move forward. As we mentioned. The team is comprised of 3 business liaisons, and actually we didn't mention Dan, but she is sort of the comptroller for the entire thing. I will be working primarily with Districts 1 and Districts 3 on that map, and then Juliana will be working primarily with Districts 2 and Districts 4. Dan actually ran the small business resource website for Prosper Portland for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And does an amazing job basically doing intake, folks that are have inquiries with the city, have concerns, have opportunities, and then routing them to the resources of Prosper. And she's doing a lot of website navigation and intake. I should note that Juliana and I both have very complementary skill sets and backgrounds, and we are not just divided by district. We're also collaboratively supporting each other. My background is in finance and in capital access. Juliana's is in expert legal services, and so I lean heavily on her if I've got a client that is dealing with lease negotiations, any type of legal aspects. And so we work really collaboratively together. So just wanted to note that it's not a hard defining line by district. It is just a holistic approach. So, this is so cool. I like this.
Yeah, so this is how you can start encouraging people to reach out to us. So any small businesses who are here, you can just use the QR code. It'll go right to our contact form. And like I mentioned, we're already meeting small businesses. So usually we'll do an initial meeting, and that will be over Zoom, so virtually or over phone. And so that's just for us to get a better sense of what it is you're looking for, to see if it's something where we are going to be just doing a quick support and getting you to the right place, or if it's going to be longer. And if it's going to be longer, then we can set up follow-up appointments. And those follow-up appointments, we may be going out and visiting you in your location if you have one, or figuring out what's going to be the most convenient.
Okay, and then so this is a little about the Office of Small Business website. As I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to be really user-friendly and really driven by the small business community. And the Office of Small Business is made up a lot of folks that have come from the small business community that aren't insular to public service. We really come from a nonprofit wide background. And so our sensibilities are really built into the way the website's going to be built because we have been working with the community for a while. So here's some of the opportunities that are going to be happening with the website, connecting directly to both myself, Juliana, and Dan through chat, contact forms, direct scheduling. There's going to be a really well thought out series of resource guides to the City of Portland services. Permitting alone is going to be just a really good breadth of knowledge base that's meant to be palatable for folks. And really, it's supposed to be user friendly, similar to that timeline that I put up in the beginning that I'll bring back up at the end. Wherever you're at in your business journey, the website's meant to meet you there and provide you with resources that you can utilize. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, events. We'll post tons of events as they come up. There's going to be some evergreen video resources, potentially trainings at one point in bite-sized chunks. That's the goal, is to really give it to people that they can consume them and go back and watch them again if they need be.
And as I mentioned, the website will be coming next month. We don't yet know exactly the date, but you can expect that to come online here pretty soon. And so then from that point, that'll be the starting point, but additional resources will be added.
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to bring it back to that very first slide. And I'm going to take a moment to pause and just be quiet for a sec and just let this slide sink in. And if anybody has questions or thoughts, co-presenters on the panel, if there's case studies, we can just talk about that as it comes up. Well, thanks for putting the intake form in the chat, Nicole. Appreciate it.
No worries.
If there aren't any questions, Nicole or Emily, are there any case studies that you think that would be valuable to go over, or I can think of one too, or one of the things that keeps coming up for us is that don't sign your lease until you've really checked into all the aspects of the physical space to do your due diligence before you actually commit to that space. Even though we've only been in our roles since mid-February, we've both experienced this firsthand from business owners. The big challenges of either being in an existing space and trying to expand, or signing a lease and not doing your due diligence around, is it zoned for that use? What are the parameters? What are the permitting issues, permitting challenges? What does the actual lease itself look like? Have you negotiated what the tenant improvements look like, what it's going to cost? That's been a really big hurdle for a lot of small business owners that we've been working with. And we really encourage you to take your time. Try not to fall in love with a space. I know it's really hard as a small business owner because we see spaces and we envision how we're going to build that out and what it's going to look like. And that's really exciting. And I'm not trying to temper those dreams, but I'm just trying to add a little bit of caution to that as well. It's really important. And now having understood how complex the permitting process can be, really plan for runway leading up to it. Don't expect to turn that key and then turn on revenue in your business. It could be up to 2 to 3 months before your doors truly open, depending on what industry you're in and what's happening. What else? That's a big one.
That is a big one. Well, they say when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So as a lawyer, I tend to see a lot of legal challenges and legal concerns. And so I think anytime that a small business owner is trying to figure things out, a lot of times they're bootstrapping it. And so they're cobbling things together. They're thinking about, okay, how have I seen it done before, and recreating it. But I do think that there are definitely times when it's important to be looking at what outside experts you need to bring in.
Mhm.
And I think that anytime that you're getting into the space where you're talking about regulations, you're talking about laws, you're talking about contracts, then I always highly recommend that. It can be very expensive, but particularly in big ticket items, if you will, like leases, spending 1,000 or 2,000 to review a lease and making sure that you understand it and asking for modifications can save you so many thousands of dollars later on.
Mhm. Especially if you're looking at a space that's like $2,500 a month.
That's right.
$1,000 is not a lot
Not
to
a
put
lot
toward it.
when you
If
think
you
about
can't
it.
afford $1,000, you probably shouldn't step into a $2,500 a month lease. On that note of everything looks like a nail for a hammer. So we're in a really, since we have some time, I'm going to talk about access to capital and how we're in a really difficult and challenging time for small business owners, particularly small business owners that are early on in their business journey and are not what we would call traditionally bankable. And that's actually a lot of small business owners. A lot of small business owners, even if you've been around for a while, you may be able to utilize a credit union or bank for your banking purposes, but they may not lend to you. And that's an important differentiator in this point. We're in a lending landscape that is becoming increasingly tight and increasingly unfavorable for smaller business owners to operate in. So there's a couple of resources that we're going to put on our website, but I can just outline them here. And then a couple of cautionary tales, especially for small business owners that do any type of retail trade. So quality financing and quality access to capital is pretty straightforward. That's like credit unions and banks, some CDFIs. So those are community development financial institutions, but they need to be well vetted. That's entities like MISO, Business Impact Northwest. Some equity firms. So that's taking on, private equity, an angel investor partner. But once again, you're going to want to employ a lawyer on your side when you review those terms and contracts. You can have a friends and family raise, but you also want to be careful about how you have that contract language and the expectations attached to it. The cautionary side that I've seen quite a bit are these transaction-based things like Square service loans or any of these transaction-based loans or lines of credit that tend to happen. They're low-hanging fruit for some business owners because they may be a transaction-based business owner, let's say a coffee shop. So they make thousands and thousands of transactions a month, and their provider that does that, if it's Square or another one, may say, hey, guess what? We are offering you a line of credit for your invoices for your next month because you're such a great customer. Well, those lines of credit can add up, and there are microtransaction lines of credit, right? So you don't have a payment that goes back to Square. They're going to take a haircut off of every retail transaction that you have moving forward. They don't clearly outline their rates or their terms. Their terms and conditions are built into the little contract that you take when you take that cash advance. It's ostensibly a cash advance. And business owners really need to take a breath and pause before they consider that type of financing. It's very easy to get behind the eight ball. I've worked with some really successful businesses that seemed like they were doing really well from a retail standpoint, but 60 cents off of every dollar was going back to a Square line of credit. And you're never going to be able to be profitable and get ahead if you've taken a predatory debt like that. So I'd really encourage small business owners to pause and consider funding resources strategically before they move forward. And really look back on this business journey. When's the last time you revisited your financial projections? When's the last time you revisited your bookkeeping practices and even your business plan? If you're at a point where you need access to capital, what does that look like for you? So with that, I mean, there's not a whole lot else to cover unless there's anything specific that folks would like to chat about. But I will leave it on the QR code slide. And that's the form that you can contact us at any time. And our teammate Dan, or it can go directly to one of the two of us. We're really excited to continually engage with the small business community and make resources at the city more accessible, more palatable for folks, and continue to be an advocate for small business owners throughout the city.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Love that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, John and Juliana, would you like me to put this link for the small business intake form on our newsletter?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then you guys's website will be up next month.
Yes, and we'll
Okay.
share that. Yeah, we have a landing website on the Prosper website, but that won't be the URL for our actual website. So we'll
Okay.
have a separate one from that. So
All right, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being
thank you.
presenters today. And I
Thank
guess
you.
we can end early because everyone's out enjoying the sun.
That's awesome. Well, I guess we should do that too then.
Yes, enjoy your
Yeah.
lunch. Thank you for
Yes.
being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take good care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.